Hey, so I wanted to just weigh in on this whole situation with H&M. Oh, y'all, we got to do better, okay? Listen, so H&M shows this ad and apparently they're showing some children's clothes and they have children of different racial backgrounds. And then we get to this young black girl, a phenotypically black girl that we wouldn't typically see in other ads, right? And that's something that a lot of us as black women have complained about. We've said, well, we deal with a lot of erasure and exclusion because a lot of time your quote unquote black image of a black girl or a black woman is someone who's actually biracial or they're mixed race, right? So they're mixed race with maybe a black grandparent or great grandparent. And so you're calling them black, but when you look at them, they don't actually look black, right? And so you see this ad and you see this black girl and her beautiful coarse hair. And then you see black women all over social media saying, oh, her hair doesn't look quote unquote done. Now it's interesting to me because the other little girls in the ad, their hair is also, what's quote unquote the messy look. And that's actually in for girls and women of other races. And it's just so heartbreaking to me to see that a lot of black women hate the way we look in our original form. And it's so sad because we pass that on to little black girls. And what that means is that little black girls don't actually have the opportunity to just be and be free and go outside and play and not have to worry about a few hairs being out of place. Okay? And some of y'all, if y'all have an old school grandma or great auntie or great grandma or great auntie, they will tell you, okay, that the little girls that don't have the hair that's overly permed or overly relaxed, and the little girls that don't have the hair that's overly pulled into these super duper tight hairstyles will grow up to be young ladies and women who have a full head of hair and have all their edges and who don't have a problem growing hair, right? But that's a whole different conversation. So I just kind of wanted to share some of my own experiences with this because, as I've told some of you, I am in my late 30s and I just had a birthday, so I'm even later into my 30s. And I went natural when it wasn't really popular, right? It hasn't really been popular to be natural other than maybe the last 5 to maybe 10 years, okay? I had my last relaxer in August of 2003. And the reason I did that is because I had a bad reaction to a relaxer. And because of the education that I had had from the women on both sides of my family, I knew that the only way for my hair to grow back was to leave that alone, okay? And a few years later, maybe in like '06 or '07, I was in a relationship with a black man, and by then my hair was fully natural. And it was kind of cute. I thought it was cute. It was a day we were running a lot of errands, and I had my hair in, I guess what people would call a twist out. And so, you know how it is, you leave the house and it's this beautiful twist out afro, right? And when you run some errands, it's still beautiful. It's just, the humidity hits it and it looks a little different than it did when you originally left the house. And it was so heartbreaking because we had been a couple of places and we get back into the car and this black man that I was very much attached to, we were very much in a relationship, he looks at me and he said, your hair looks crazy. Because everything wasn't in place. I had friends who were black women that I worked with at that particular time who would ask me, well, why don't you get a relaxer? Or why don't you flat iron your hair? And I literally got to this point where I got tired of explaining to people, why I was doing what the fuck I wanted to do with my hair. But see, my grandfather on my mother's side, he told my mother this, and then he told us this as grandchildren. He was like, y'all don't have the type of hair that can really withstand relaxing it all the time. So my grandfather would actually make like hair grease and stuff for my mom. So like how people do the stuff with the aloe vera leaf and the aloe vera gel, my grandfather was doing that for my mom when she was a little girl. Okay. And so I didn't grow up in a family on either side of people that had a problem with coarse hair. You know what I'm saying? We just kind of understood that, okay, if the hair is not relaxed, you're going to have moments where maybe you have, quote unquote, the messy hair look, but no one ever made it an issue. And it was interesting to me because in the area I'm in, this whole thing where you have the Dominican hair shops, or you have the black Brazilian hair shops. It's kind of a new thing. But the first time I went into a Dominican hair salon was the first time I had a conversation with black women who, we were talking, okay. Oh, okay. Listen, y'all. I was like the only person in there with like a full head of, coarse hair. But when we were talking about it, the ladies were telling me that it's not uncommon for them to see that in their home country. And a lot of the women, you know how it is when you're in the hair salons, or you're just in there a long time. But the women that I was talking to on this particular occasion, like the first time I went in there, they were saying, well, they only get relaxers 2 to 3 times a year. So that was the first time I had really encountered black women who didn't live under this concept of, okay, every hair has to be in place. Your hair is not right unless it's straight, so on and so forth. And so I thought that maybe we were seeing some progress. Do you know what I mean? And so maybe the next generation of black girls wouldn't have to deal with this, especially because, it's all these conversations on social media where you have these men saying, oh, black women, you should wear your natural hair, blah, blah, blah. So to see this little girl in an ad being dragged all over social media, or this company who's actually including a phenotypically black girl in an ad being criticized because, you have black women who feel like she needs, quote unquote, edge control or whatever. It's just very disheartening to me. It's very disheartening because at the end of the day, other little girls are allowed to go to school or allowed to go out and play. And when they come home, or when you see them again and their hair is a little messy, no one has a problem with it. As a matter of fact, amongst women of other races, it's actually a style, okay, for your hair to look messy. So the messy bun, or, when you see certain hairstyles that these women do, the point for them is for every hair to not be in place. But with little black girls and for black women, every edge hair has to be laid down. Every hair has to be in place. And if not, the primary people dragging you will be other black people, including other black women. And it's just very disheartening. And if this girl continues to wear her hair in its natural state, by the time she's an adult, her hair will be down her back. How do I know this? Because I'm a living witness. Okay, I went natural simply because I had a bad reaction to a perm, and girl, your girl's hairline was gone. Okay, and your girl already has a big forehead. So the only hope of my hairline growing back was for me to stop getting the relaxers. And once my hairline grew back, I just was afraid to really touch it again. And now, without me really trying anything out of the ordinary, my hair has grown to be fairly long. Okay. Now, I also know you're going to have women who say, well, your hair can also grow very long with relaxers with the proper hair care. And I understand that. I'm just saying that doesn't work for me. And I'm saying whether you want to wear your hair relaxed or not, it's fine. But why are we so ashamed of how we look in our natural state? Why don't we uplift our original image, right? While understanding some of us are going to look different. Some of us are going to be darker. Some of us are going to be lighter. Some of us are going to be more brown. Some of us are going to have different features, right? But why is it that for so many black women, we only like quote unquote natural hair when it's a type 3 hair texture? You see, a lot of y'all claim to like natural hair, but you don't like type 4 hair. You don't like type 4B, type 4C. Y'all don't like that really coarse hair. And it's unfortunate because that is who we are in our most natural form. And the reality is, okay, some of us are not able to do all those chemicals in our hair. Some of us have scalp sensitivities. Some of us just ain't able to do all of that shit. But beyond that, why aren't we looking at our little black girls and allowing them to have moments where they're carefree? And allowing them to have moments where we understand that it's okay for some hair to be out of place. It's okay if the edges aren't slicked down. If you've had a wonderful day at school, you've learned, you're participating in the educational process, or you're playing outside with your friends, why don't we understand that it's okay for our little black girls to just exist and be carefree, just like other little girls? So, I don't know, y'all. Let me know what you think in the comments.